listening to a Barrie Colts podcast with your hosts, Ryan Noble and Ryan McArthur. On today's episode, player signings, draft-eligible players, and Colts at NHL Camps. So enjoy.
The rawness, my roaring jaws harness is awesome. Often in dead mics I grip with my paw prints on with the
Okay, cut the music. Welcome to a Barrie Colts podcast. We are on episode 3 today. I am your host, Ryan Noble, and with me today again is
Ryan McArthur, episode 3, back again for another episode of Barrie Colts podcast, and I'm pumped for the season, 5 days away.
Absolutely, man. We've got,
awesome.
So just remember that if you are listening to us, we are available at Podomatic, also available obviously on iTunes and Google Play.
Yeah, and you can listen to it on YouTube as well, and we're hoping to get on Spotify soon. So make sure you guys listen on all platforms, whatever one's easiest for you, and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Subscribers help us too, so get those numbers up, and so if you like what we're putting out, that's how you can help us out.
And be sure to follow us also on social media. We are on Twitter. We've got the Barrie Colts account. We're also on Instagram, which is Barrie Colts as well, same as Twitter. And you can even like our page on the Facebook machine. I also have my own personal Twitter account, at RyanNoble66. And Ryan has one as well.
Yeah, I definitely got one. Ryan P. McArthur. Tons of Barrie Colts content on there. We're on Twitter nonstop, updating things. Any updates or anything, we're posting. So make sure you follow us on Twitter because that's where we're most active.
Pretty active. And right now we've got a lot of content obviously coming out of the blog. And we've got a lot more with the season starting here in 5 days.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we'll get started. The first thing we're going to take a look at here is recently signed players for the Colts. The first one we got here is McArthur, who is a Buffalo Sabres prospect who the Colts had just recently made official anyways. There was some speculation as to whether or not he was actually going to be coming to Barrie, but just a little while ago it was finally confirmed that he would be joining the team.
Yeah, the team announced 5 signings at once, so that's pretty awesome to get the 5 players that they got. But the key piece that they signed was McArthur. So he's from the Czech Republic, import pick from from the summer's import draft. Yeah, like basically we saw him in Barrie for preseason games, and he was also in Collingwood for a Colts preseason game. So we were kind of getting a little excited to see him there, and they made it official just recently. So it's great to have him on the team. Colts management staff just absolutely killed it with that pick. Jason Ford is just a magician in the import market. Got to give him lots of credit there. Key thing probably was Dale Hawerchuk's connection in Buffalo. Dale was a star player for the Buffalo Sabres, so chances are he's got some good connections there, and possibly could have convinced someone to get him to come to Barrie as a second-round pick in the import draft. He was actually a really late pick, so fourth-round pick that late in the import draft is pretty awesome to land that guy, right?
Absolutely, and I mean, I think that we've got nothing but high expectations for how well he's going to contribute to the Colts this season. And then we also got Jet Greaves, which was very exciting because there was a lot of talk, obviously, on the last show where we were hyping the possibility of the Colts bringing Greaves in.
Yeah, we've been pumping up Jet Greaves. Jet Greaves is pretty awesome, young goaltender. 2001 born, so this is his draft year. He was a third-round pick in the 2017 draft, which is, like we said in the last podcast, pretty high for a goalie. Unbelievable reflexes. At camp, Andreas Athanasiou showed up, which was awesome.
Yeah, it's always great having a guy like that show up.
At Barrie Colts camp. That must have been a thrill for some of the youngest players, especially that didn't play with him, but most of them actually wouldn't, because I believe he goes back to 2013, 2014 when he got 49 goals with the Barrie Colts. And yeah, anyways, they made a play where someone passed it over to him, a cross-ice pass, and he hammered a one-timer. Jet Greaves got over super quick and nailed it with his pad, like amazing pad save. So this kid is super athletic, and he could end up being the best goalie the Colts have. I mean, you got Zukov there, who's a Vegas fourth rounder, and Kai Edmonds, who's also really strong. But Jet Greaves got a shutout in preseason action, and don't sleep on him getting a lot of games for the Colts this year.
And he looked great. And like you said, his movement in the crease is just incredible. His ability to really just hug the post and just read plays. He seems like he plays just a much more evolved game than someone his age would.
Yeah.
And getting some games with the Colts this year, I mean, he's just going to get better. So he'll be someone that definitely look for. And while we're on goaltenders, we ended up signing our other import pick, Maxim Zukov, the Golden Knights prospect.
Yeah, Maxim Zukov, fourth-round pick of the Vegas Golden Knights. He's from Russia. He was 2017 draft, so he's a little bit older. Colts could have had some intel there, too. Mike Rosati, former Barrie Colts assistant coach and goalie coach, is actually the goalie coach for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, I mean, Jason Ford's like doing his homework. He's got lots of connections around the league. Having Howardchuk around helps. Man, like you got a player that he's coming back. He's going to learn from Billy Smith, the goalie coach in Barrie. Rosati knows that Barrie's got a good program in place.
Absolutely.
And I got to give credit to Jason Ford. Like to land Zukov and Picard, 2 fourth-rounders, picking later in the import draft is pretty awesome.
And it seemed at the time, like as we discussed, a risky move. I mean, I was not
risky,
I was not optimistic about Picard coming, especially with him saying that he was committing to the Miami,
Ohio, yeah.
And just it was one of those situations where Ford knew best, and we could sit here speculating based on things that we thought we knew. And at the end of the day, he really knocked it out of the park with these just outstanding selections. And Zukov, I mean, he had a little bit of struggles in one of the preseason games. It wasn't the strongest show, but in camp, I mean, he was outstanding. His position, his ability to control rebounds, he looked outstanding. And it's a tough adjustment, especially coming from other leagues like the USHL. You figure in a few games, once he kind of finds his rhythm, he's going to look a lot better. He's got the skill.
Yeah, one game is a really, really small sample size, so don't read too much into that. He let in 6 goals. It's not a big deal.
And not playing with a lot of the regular roster guys.
Yeah.
A lot of guys like Tucker on defense being at camp and stuff like that. You just didn't get the same, defensive help that he will get when we're actually in the regular season.
Yeah, and that goalie battle is going to be something, man. Like, Jet Greaves is pretty awesome. Zukov, you got Kai Edmonds. Kai Edmonds' work ethic is unbelievable. Like, talking to Gene Pereira about him, he talks about Kai. He loves that kid. That kid has like a fire in his eye. He's super competitive, and man, the goalies are going to be great for Barrie this year. They're going to have really strong goaltending.
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be a heck of a fight to see who ends up, getting those 2 main spots, anyways. But. I guess we'll have to just wait and see how that ends up playing out. So it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, it could be a trade there too. Like you got 3 really good goalies. 3-goalie system, like we mentioned before, isn't the greatest situation. So
absolutely not.
We got a lot of depth in goaltending from the prospects that were good at camp too. So Colts fans, I think you're going to be happy with what's coming up between the pipes and the guys that you got this year. Pretty exciting.
There's always teams looking for goaltending.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to have 3 options of guys that you could move, there's a potential for us to bring in some picks even just to hopefully work towards the future.
Yeah.
Speaking of the future, another player that we ended up signing was Peter Fleming.
Fleming, 2001 born. He spent last year with the St. Thomas Stars, Junior B. He got pretty decent point totals. He was just under a point per game about. He played with the London Junior Knights AAA program in his OHL draft year, and he actually played on the same team as Ryan Suzuki. So a bit of a connection there. Big, strong, power forward. I don't know, like you look at the kid, he hasn't filled out yet. He's going to be a force out there. He's going to be some guy that brings some size. Colts need a little bit of size. A lot of their players that they've got coming up through the system, and some of their older players are a little bit smaller, so it's nice to have a bigger body to throw in front of the net and get some pucks in the opposing zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's got a nice shot. Like, he can really shoot the puck, so He made the Colts strong training camp, and
Well,
that's how it
he
goes.
looked great at camp, and I
Yeah.
mean, he every time I looked up, I actually saw him doing something. There was a lot of aspects of his game that I liked, and I'm really excited to see where he ends up fitting into the roster,
Yeah.
and just how that progresses.
Yeah, probably a depth guy this year, looking at fourth line, possibly third line minutes. You're not going to be running the power play or anything. So, but yeah, down the road, this guy is going to be good, and hopefully, when he does get opportunities, he takes advantage and puts up some points this year.
Very traditional for a lot of OHL rookies. So,
Yeah.
and while we're on the note of
A couple
OHL
more
rookies, we got Tyson Forster.
Yeah, so for new players, we got 3 more OHL rookies. Tyson Forster's one of them. Really like Tyson Forster from the Barrie Junior Colts AAA program. Put up a ton of points during his OHL draft year. Had a really awesome OHL Cup. Tons of points at the OHL Cup. I can't even remember. I think through 5 games, he had like 9 points. Yeah, he was really good. He was one of the guys on the Colts that was the junior AAA Colts, I should say, that was running the power play. Him, James Hardy, those were the 2 main forwards on the team. So yeah, he's a really good player. I mentioned before, and I've mentioned this many times on Twitter, I'm kind of really bummed out that he didn't get U17 camp invite. I really have no idea how Team Canada possibly missed on that one, because you're looking at a Team Canada U17 camp, you're looking at about 111 players, and I think he's easily in the top 111 players in his age group. I really don't get that, but look forward to seeing him. He's probably in a similar boat as Fleming.
Absolutely.
In terms of on the depth chart, like 3rd, 4th line, take advantage of those opportunities. And
Totally. Well, I mean, he's going to get the opportunity to do it. And again, like you said, he looked really good at camp. It was the first time I really got a chance to look at him play, and I was really impressed. I was happy to see how, he was definitely one of the ones, especially of these 3, that really stood out for me.
Yeah, he's a center iceman, and he takes care of his own zone pretty well. So playing on the 4th line, he's going to have to make sure that he's containing some of these better OHL forwards. And when he gets out against those guys, he's going to have to stick to them and show that he can keep up with the big boys. So I think that he's going to be excellent in that role. I had him picked on my depth chart, so I'm happy with that player making the team.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least is Connor LePage.
Yeah, Connor LePage. So you're looking at a kid, late 2001 born. He's a September birth date. He's just past the NHL draft cutoff of September 15th. I think he's September 19th or September 21st, but we'll figure that out later once his birthday comes up, which is actually coming up. So we'll have to make sure we wish him a happy birthday. But he's basically a 2002 born. If you look at it in terms of OHL rookies, like he's basically the same technical age as a 16-year-old OHL rookie. So he has the potential to play many years in Barrie. Really like this player. Great skater, excellent shot, kind of does a little bit of everything. In camp, he got a beautiful shootout goal, awesome like deke, and just threw it 5-hole. I put it on my Twitter. I took a video of that. He is awesome. Like I'm really pumped that he signed with the Colts. He was amazing in the summer league for the Colts Carnival summer league team. Got tons of points in camp. And yeah, he's in a similar situation as the other rookies, fighting for ice time, and that's basically how it goes. You got to work your way up.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was one of the ones that stood out most for me at camp with the younger guys. I really liked his game. I liked the way he was skating, and he looked great. Actually, he was what inspired one of our the posts that we did there. I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, where we did the Barrie Colts on advertisements.
Just
for some reason, while I was looking at his name, all I could think of was the logo.
Yeah,
Yellow Pages.
Yeah,
so,
Page.
We ended up throwing a bunch of images together.
Yeah.
That was still my personal favorite. So it was. He's going to be great for the team, and he's inspiring the blog to come out with some nonsensical posts, and I'm sure he will inspire us to come out with some more in-depth stuff as well.
That's when you know you're starting to make it in hockey, when people are making
nonsensical, silly Photoshops.
Yeah, man.
That's the dream. That's the dream right there, buddy.
That's how it goes. So welcome to the OHL. The spotlight's on. So the other new guy we've already mentioned him a ton, is Riley Piercy. Riley Piercy was a first rounder. He basically got signed a long time ago, so we've talked about him quite a bit on podcasts in the past, but don't want to miss him. He's a new player on the team, and he is just basically a big forward. Like, I love the way he forechecks. He's just got such an active stick. He just strips pucks off the guys. It's crazy.
Mhm.
He is so good in the offensive zone. So he actually is one of the guys on this list of new forwards or whatever that I don't think is going to be down on the depth chart. I think you could see him up on the third line, possibly even getting second line minutes. It depends on how Dale does the lines, but man,
Well, as well as chemistry, you never know what kind of players he could end up working with, and also depends on the play of some of the other guys who are, we're expecting to have up higher in the roster.
Right.
So there's always that potential of moving up and down through the roster, depending on their performance, depending on other players' performance as well.
Yeah, and if you watch them in summer league, I noticed that they had him assistant general manager Rob Stewart, who does an amazing job, by the way. You always see Rob at the rink at minor midget games and whatnot. His scouting has been awesome the last few years. He deploys the lines and runs those teams in the summer. And you saw Piercy playing with a lot of the older guys. So you saw him with Luke Bignall a lot. I think Luke Bignall and Riley Piercy are going to be the core of that third line. Those are two young guys that the Colts are going to have for a really long time. And they're going to be, like, imagine in like 3-4 years, like, those two guys. I think that you're going to see them being the top scorers in the Colts. I think in 3 years, it's not unrealistic to have both those guys getting over 100 points.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be something to for sure look forward to. Was there anyone else that you wanted to touch on that may or may not have missed just the bubble of cracking a spot on the roster? Or
Yeah, I do. I follow the prospects pretty closely. So there's a couple guys that I thought just missed the team. The first one I have, Austin Durazio. He's going to be playing for the Newmarket Hurricanes Junior A team. I think he should have been signed. I'm pretty bummed out about him not getting signed. So another
he
guy,
looked really good at camp, actually. I was actually kind of shocked to see that he wasn't also included in that. He was excellent.
I think that he should have been the seventh defenseman on the team, but that's just my personal opinion. And then you got Eric Russell, who was U17 camp for Team Canada. He'll be playing for the Toronto Patriots Junior A team. A little bit of a disappointing camp for him. I think the Colts were waiting to see if they were going to sign Peter Fleming and Connor LePage to see how Eric Russell looked, which is why they didn't sign those 2001 born players earlier. And they basically beat him out, but expect him to be on the Colts next year.
I'll be honest with you. I thought Russell looked really good at camp.
Yeah?
And I actually felt that, like, of a lot of these guys, he stood out a lot to me. I found that he was doing a good job offensively, defensively. He was moving the puck pretty well. And I thought he looked really good. I was kind of...
Maybe it's because I've seen Russell a lot. Like, I watched him a lot for the Vaughan AAA Kings. And you know what? I was actually expecting a bit more, but, like, don't get me wrong when I'm saying that. He's a really good player. Like, this kid went to Team Canada U17 camp in Calgary, and Forrester didn't even make that team. So,
in my opinion, it's obviously based on a much smaller sample size.
Yeah.
So you've got a better idea when these guys were coming into camp as to what they had to offer. And I mean, because I might not have had any expectation of him the same way you did, right. He could have gone up or he could have gone down for me, right? So,
yeah, and like I think you're going to see him on the Colts next year. But yeah, we want to focus on the current players. So I'll just kind of mention a couple more. Christian Filippetti, goalie. He's going to be playing for the Aurora Tigers Junior A. Apparently, he stole a spot from a veteran netminder on the Tigers. So, man, he's
well, they're off to a good start right now.
He was amazing at training camp. So
they were 2-0 right now. I think they just won their second game last night. I think they play again tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Filippetti got the first start there, and so he let in 2 goals. But they went to overtime and went to 8 minutes of extra time. So it's got a 1.75 goals against average, 931 save percentage in one game. He's a late 2001 birthday, so he's a young kid, great guy to have in the system. And then the other two that I thought were close were Americans, Noah Marino, a defenseman, don't know where he's playing next year, and Nate Hanley, a forward. I posted a video of him on Twitter, so check that out. PAL 16U Islanders program is where he's going to play. He's committed to Northeastern University, so chances are they had problems getting him to commit. A lot of those American guys don't like to come in their first year. Like you look at Joey Keane. He came in his second year. It's not uncommon for them not to sign, and usually they want the fancy contracts that we know the Colts aren't super pumped to give out. So, let's move on.
Excellent. So from player signings, we're going to move over to NHL draft eligibles, and obviously at the top of our list is Ryan Suzuki.
Ryan Suzuki, man. So basically, the OHL came out with their 20 in 20 thing, which is perfect timing for us because it was actually just yesterday when it all came out. But
great content too.
And a wicked video there. It's about a 5-minute video, and Jason Ford talks about some of the top players in the Colts. So make sure you give that a listen because anytime Ford talks, like there's a lot of like you can read a lot into what he says about guys and what the team's intentions are.
Absolutely.
So you gotta double listen to those once or twice.
He always comes across very honest in those things.
Oh man,
like,
yeah.
It's just he does a great job, and I mean they put that together really well.
Yeah. And Ford mentioned basically about Suzuki, which he's the smartest player in the 2001 age group. Obviously, that's subjective on whose opinion it is, but it's pretty obvious that he is really kind of separating himself. You look at the Colts when they picked first overall, there was a few options, and I think one of them could have possibly been Philip Tomasino, who was in close competition with Ryan Suzuki there. But at the preseason game recently, the Colts against the Ice Dogs, Suzuki is like miles ahead of Tomasino. And the Colts made the right pick, like by a mile. Suzuki is the top-ranked, draft-eligible in the OHL. He's right where you want him to be.
Totally.
Probably going to be a top-5 pick. Craig Button just came out with his rankings and put him 13th.
Yeah.
But
as the season progresses, no doubt he's going to climb up everybody's
list. His stock will rise.
He will absolutely. And I mean, I think that I don't think the 13 is a bad spot for him to be in.
No.
But I honestly, and we've talked about this before, I will be shocked if he doesn't land in the top 5 when the draft comes.
Especially as a center with that skating ability, teams covet center icemen, and someone that skates so effortlessly and so quick. Like, he could just stop speeds. He can change up his speeds really quick. He can accelerate quick. He's got an awesome first step. And the playmaking ability and vision is
his vision is insane.
Oh, my gosh.
It's ridiculous. And especially at this point in his career. Like, I mean, he's just going to get better. And right now, he is a filthy, filthy player.
Playmaking is just awesome.
Ridiculous.
He's obviously a pass-first guy. And he's just got such fantastic composure. He's cool, calm, collected. Like, him and Kai Edmonds must be, like, the coolest two guys in Barrie.
Yeah.
Like, you always see, like, him talking about Kai Edmonds, and he goes, like, cool Kai, #cool Kai. So, like, those two guys are pretty cool customers.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, you gotta love that.
You know, we could probably sit here and talk about Ryan Suzuki for the rest of the show. But you know what? Honestly, I would say that the best thing to get more info on Suzuki is Ryan just recently uploaded.
Get it out there.
I can't. I'm stuck on stupid today, buddy. I'm a little sluggish, so I gotta get my.
We're new at this, guys. We're new at this.
It's a work in progress, like we told you in F1. So, but no, go over to Very Very Colts blog, and Ryan has a great write up looking at Ryan Suzuki. No, thank you. It was a great job, and it's done very well. So we've gotten a lot of good feedback on it, and if you've yet to see it, just go over to the website, and you'll be able to easily find it in a very simple to use layout.
Yeah, Very Colts blog. Check that out. We basically, I've been learning a lot about blogging over the last year. I only started the end of last year, and I actually did a lot of embeds for videos. So there's tons of stuff on Ryan Suzuki, like.
I'm so proud of you.
He's so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you.
It's like,
it's being able.
I'm like noble student here.
Well, it's a work in progress. You could probably find a better teacher, but you could have found a worse one too. So just work with what you got, bud.
So yeah, check that out. Like, cause I got a video of a goal he got when he was in Junior B for the London Nationals. 2 highlight reels with the summary of his 27-18 year goals from assists from the Holinka Gretzky tournament, and even a shootout goal from training camp. So I got a lot in there, and I put a lot of work into that piece. So
it turned out great.
If you want to learn more about Suzuki and why I think he's going to be a top 5 pick in the 2019 NHL draft, check that out. Barrie Colts blog.
And it's also worth noting that right now in the preseason, Suzuki, while tied with Aiden Brown, is leading the team for points. He's got 3 goals and an assist through 4 preseason games.
Yeah, so Aiden Brown, man.
We'll touch on him a little bit more at some point, but yeah, no, Brown has just been ridiculous. But
Aiden Brown is a true Barrie Colt. Like he's a throwback. You look at a guy like Aiden Brown. He's similar to Tyler Tucker. Like those are throwback Barrie Colts from the old days. I've been a Colts fan for a long time, and I love the teams from like the 2000s, and those two guys would fit in perfectly.
Brown is an absolute beauty.
Yeah, he's my breakout guy this year. That's a little bit of a spoiler. We're getting off topic here, but we got some postings coming out. So we're going to have our picks for the Pony Awards for the end of the year. So
Which is our annual awards for Barrie Colts players.
Yeah. So we're going to do predictions on who we think are going to win. I got Brown in there for most improved / breakout player. But yeah. That's
enough spoilers for you guys right now. Also know that we're going to be releasing our predictions for the OHL season as well. So that's something else to keep your eyes open for in the next probably 2 or 3 days that we'll have that up. Also, we'll have more on Suzuki. By the time you're listening to this, we will have our season preview up on the website as well. So there'll be a lot more information on a lot of these players in there.
Yeah, check out Ryan's cell phone wallpapers too. Those are pretty cool.
Not too bad.
Anyways, we'll get back on topic here.
On task. So we got up next Nathan Allenson.
Speaking of blog posts, Justin Stapleton did a blog post on Nathan Allenson. So make sure you guys check that out on the blog. Nathan Allenson, the highly underrated Nathan Allenson. So Nate didn't. He got an invite to U17 camp last summer. Before his rookie year, but he did not make one of the Team Canada teams. So there was 3 teams, Canada Red, Canada Black, and Canada White, and he didn't get a spot on any of those, which to me at the time was shocking. I saw him play a lot of minor midget hockey for the Waterloo Wolves, and he was amazing. Like his role was basically to shut down guys like Ryan Suzuki, other stars in that group, and he did a great job with that. Also power played the quarter. He quarterbacked the power play, talking too quick here, and man, he's just like unbelievable. Like he's wicked underrated still. Yeah. Didn't make those Team Canada teams, didn't get a sniff of anything there. But geez, man, I think by the time the season's over, NHL teams are they're gonna notice him
for sure. And and he's also he's got a goal here in the preseason through 4 games. And again, we could talk about him forever, but I'd say a good thing to do would be just to go to the website, check out Justin's post on him. He did an excellent job, and you'll get a lot more information on him there.
Yeah, Nate Allenson. I mean, you look at where he's at. There's a draft analyst that did a posting. He did rankings. It's like Steve Coronapolis or something. He's called the draft analyst on Twitter, and he did a really, really in-depth ranking. He went to about 300 players, ranked them, and Nate Allenson was way down there. He was about like 150 something. So there's no way that he's that high.
He's going to climb a lot of lists.
I think personally he's round 2 to 3 with the possible potential to sneak into round 1 with a big year. So like him and his skating ability and whatnot, I think the Colts are going to have really strong decor this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I going to touch on that in the preview as well for the season. So we're going to move on to the next guy who we've already kind of dabbled in a little bit in the player signings, and that's Jack Reeves.
Yeah, Jack Reeves, we already talked about him, so we won't go too much into it. Shutout in preseason, and like I said, don't sleep on him potentially being the starting goalie of the Colts. Like, he's in his draft year. He hasn't let in a goal.
24 saves in his. I mean,
we'll see if he gets a start tonight. It's going to be interesting. It would likely be Maxim Zhukov. It's going to be interesting to see what the Colts do with that 3-goalie tandem. You're going to want Jack Reeves. You're going to want them all to see action. So we'll see what happens with Jack Reeves. But he's a really good goalie. And, third rounder from 2017. A lot to be excited about there.
Oh, absolutely. And then we're going to move on to Luke Bignall.
Yeah, Luke Bignall. So Luke Bignall's got a late birthday, November 2000. So even though he was part of that 2000 year, that's the 2016 draft, he is only first-time draft eligible this year, same year as Suzuki, Allen, Greaves, obviously. So potentially, you're looking at these guys. There's potential for 4 more years with these players.
Mm-hmm.
So look at a guy like Luke Bignall. Could you imagine him in 4 years?
Like, I mean, he looked outstanding last season, and I mean, he's just outstanding. And he does everything too. You know, like he's a good player. He's aggressive. He hits. He fights. He does it all. And you need players like that on your team. And Cole's got a good one in Biggie.
Yeah, and I mean, like, geez, like it's hard to say where he'll end up. He's a natural center, so you already got Suzuki and Jason Wilm, so he's probably that third line center, which is a good role
also
for
having McArthur in the mix there too, who I think is that center too. It's
true.
A lot of centers are going to probably end up getting moved over to the wing. And I mean, we can sit here and try to guess where they're going to actually end up being, but until they actually get some games, a chance to build some chemistry, then we'll get a better look at how that will shape up. Matthew Hill is also on the list of
Matthew
draft
Hill,
players.
big defenseman. He's 6'3", over 200 pounds. He is looking pretty good in training camp. He's worked really, really hard on his skating.
Skating is really improved, I was just about to say.
Yeah, he's got a really long reach. So it's really kind of hard for guys to get around him. Like, he seems to poke that puck away from them pretty easily. And I really noticed he thinks the game well. He had some really, really good stretch passes in camp that really impressed me. I'm really high on Matt Hill. I think that he's a guy that he's not going to make many draft boards right off the bat, but he could sneak in there for a draft pick. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you're, like, once the season gets going, people start talking about him and noticing him.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? Like you said, his skating has improved. He was just hitting everything that moved at camp.
Yeah, he's tough.
Unfortunately, he got in a couple of the games I saw, he was getting dinged for penalties on what seemed to be perfectly clean hits.
That never happens to Barrie Colts.
Hopefully, I mean, hopefully that doesn't kind of get into his head and make him think he should play the game any differently than he was in camp. Because, I mean, he looked great, and you don't want him to lose that physicality. It's a big part of his game. With that frame, man, you need that guy banging.
Tenacity.
You need that. You need that. So,
I think he's a very tenacious player.
And the Colts have never been a team to shy away from being very penalized. So, I mean, I don't think that Howard Chuck's not going to say to him, stop hitting, because...
I think... Just on that note, like, I think we've got a pretty gritty team this year. You look at a guy like McArthur coming in, he's a little bit of a bulldog out there. He likes to mix it up and piss some people off. So,
which we will touch on in the next little segment coming up here for sure. And we got so after Hill, we have Kai Edmonds, who is in his second year of draft eligibility.
Yeah, Kai Edmonds, kid we just talked about earlier, super competitive. He's looked much improved. In his one of his preseason games, he made a lot of huge saves. I believe that was the one in Collingwood, but I can't remember for sure. He's been really, really good. So, geez, there's a log jam in the Barrie Colts crease this year.
And then from him, we got Peter Fleming, who's eligible.
Yeah, Peter Fleming's draft eligible. We've already talked about him.
Yeah. Not too much more that we really need to put on him. But he did look good in camp, and I mean, he's somebody that might not be in the back of the minds of too many teams right now, but with a good season, if he can, just establish a name for himself, you never know what could happen with some of these guys.
And then, oh, sorry.
That was pretty much all I had on Fleming there.
So yeah, the last two we got are Sam Rhodes, second year draft eligible. So we got passed over in last year's draft. Hoping for big things from Sam this year. He's a pretty smooth skater, and they've been playing him with the top line. So
he was making smart moves at camp too.
Yeah,
he's definitely looked really, really good. I think so. We'll see how
pumped to see how that plays out.
And then last but not least,
Vic Hadfield. So he's a late 2001. So he's actually really sort of, he's a late 2001, so he's really 2002. I think I got that wrong. He's actually a late 2000, so he's really a 2001. Sorry about that.
Nice.
And so yeah, Vic
A lot of numbers to
Hadfield.
remember.
Yeah, it's a lot of numbers. I got like my notes a little mixed up there. I think that Vic Hadfield's going to have to do more for me. I find that he's doing a lot of watching in his own zone. I'd like to see him like push someone around, maybe hit someone. Like I don't know. He's a good skater, and he's got a lot of tools, but he's got to step that up and make a few less mistakes as well.
And he is a good skater, and I feel like he's just kind of finding his spot and his role on the team, and hopefully, as we get into a few games under his belt, he finds his groove, because like he has the potential to be a good contributor to the Colts blue line. It's just as of right now, we'll give him a little more time to see how that ends up panning out.
And we are not cheering against any Barrie Colts players. We
No.
love all the players, but yeah, just got to see more from him, and hopefully he turns out to be a big star for Barrie.
Unfortunately, especially for his position, especially being one of the...
It's tough when you're young.
And there's a lot of guys on this roster, like defensively, where the Colts are a really, really strong team. So, I mean, it's really easy to look at some of these other guys who aren't on that top four pairing as not being as elite as those guys, because like a lot of like the Joey Keens, Tyler Tuckers, Justin Murray. There's so many guys that are just so skilled.
And you look at guys like that, like they're so much more engaged, so much more physical. Like you can't watch the play. Like you gotta take action. Like those defensemen in the OHL, like they don't mess around. Like they get right involved, and I'm gonna need to see more of that from Hadfield.
Well, he's got to put the work in to earn his minutes too, right? And I think that as the season progresses, I think that some of the other guys are going to rub off on him, and I think that he'll end up looking a lot better as the season goes on. And we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. And yeah. So from there, we'll move on to NHL Camps, just Barrie Colts players that obviously either being drafted or getting free agent invites. We're going to start off with Zachary Magwood with the Nashville Predators.
Oh, Zach Magwood, like he at training camp, Barrie Colts training camp, he looked like a man amongst boys out there. His puck possession is incredible. He held onto the puck basically 50% of every shift that he was out there, skates around with it, goes around in circles. No one can get the puck off him, and not even close. So, I mean, the amount of progression he's had, Nashville signed him, and Jason Ford recently in the OHL 20 and 20 had something to say about him. We got a quote here. You want to read it?
Yeah, I have it up here right now. So basically what Ford said was, "We feel good about our position for overagers. We have to wait and see. It could take a month or two to see what happens with Zach Magwood. It's out of our control. We just have to go with what we have now, and we will go from there." And that was part of the OHL 20 and 20 video, as you had mentioned.
Yeah, so they're not sure what's going to happen. So right now, it's kind of looking 50-50. I mean, we thought that he was coming back. It's hard. It's really, really hard to say. I've heard the Colts think he's likely not coming back. I've heard that who knows? The Barrie Colts always keep things very secret, and we're not going to find out until Nashville makes the decision. They make the decision on what's best for their players. But I would say this, and I put a tweet out about this earlier, like we've gotten players like this back before that we didn't expect to come back. You look at Kevin LeBanc. He came back. That was 3 years ago. He won the scoring title with 127 points. And another overager we had last year, a different situation. We acquired, the Colts acquired via trade with the Windsor Spitfires, was Aaron Luchuk. He also won the scoring title. So you look at the last 3 OHL seasons, the 2 leading scorers were Barrie Colts in 2 of the 3 seasons. I mean, it didn't hurt their development at all, being in Barrie, learning from Dale Hawerchuk.
Well, look how good LeBanc looked with San Jose, especially in the playoffs. I mean, he was getting a lot of big minutes. He was playing on the power play. He was one of those guys that people sometimes said maybe didn't have the size to play that level. But, I mean, when you're as skilled as Kevin LeBanc is, eventually you're going to earn your spot. And it's just a matter of putting the work in. And he did. And he did every night when he was in Barrie.
God, Kevin LeBanc, straight to the bank.
Just a beauty. Just an absolute beauty. Speaking of beauties, The New York Rangers were lucky enough to have Joey Keane at their camp.
Gosh, man, were they ever? Like, I can't believe he lasted so long in the draft.
Totally.
As a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, I'm just dying here. Like, I think he was around 88th or 87th overall, and the Leafs had 2 picks in the 80s. They took a center from out west, Riley Stotts, and SDA from Peterborough, Simeon Argentinsentsev, something like that.
Beautiful. I think
Just
you knocked that one
butchered it.
out. No, I think
Just
that was
butchered it. But yeah, like, I don't know. Those guys could end up turning out to be good, but gosh, it just killed me that the Leafs didn't take Joey Keane there.
Keane is probably going
Tough
to be
kid.
the top OHL defender this year. He is just so skilled, and I mean, his skating seems so much better than everybody else's. He just seems so fast. His ability to skate backwards is just disgusting. He is just such a good player. His offensive prowess, his ability to get back if there's a turnover in the offensive zone. I mean, he's always
gap control,
just insane
gap control.
So good.
Like, what he can do is he can rush into the play. He can carry the puck in and kind of try to make a play. And while he's doing that, he can loop around and get back in time. Like, there's not very many defensemen that have that ability. He's going to be able to basically play 200 feet of the ice as a defenseman. So he's playing the whole ice surface. Like, that's incredible when you think of guys that have that ability. There's not very many, and they're very rare. Come across those guys, there's very few. So he's a real tough kid. Best defensive defenseman in the OHL coaches poll last year. So imagine how good defensively he's going to be this year. He's got some size. Like, you don't really see him as a guy with some size, but you look at him in camp, he's bulked up a bit. He's on that NHL workout program. I'm sure the Rangers got him on, and just loaded with skill. Wicked wrister, too. I love his wrist shot.
Absolutely.
Finds the top corner on that one. He's going to get a lot of points this year. And a spoiler alert, I got him as my best defenseman for the OHL this year in my predictions. So
all the spoilers, but
yeah, got to stop with those, eh?
No,
got to save something for later.
Save something for them to read. All right. So moving forward, we have Matej Pekar, who is at Buffalo Sabres camp, who we've already touched on a little bit.
Yeah, and the first 3 that we talked about here, Zach Magwood, Joey Keane, and Matej Pekar, are still at training camps. So those are the 3 that are still with the big clubs, and the next ones have all been returned to the Barrie Colts. So these guys, we're expecting them to come back, Keane and Pekar, but Magwood, we're unsure.
And with Pekar, in the preview post that should be up as you're listening to this, we've got a great video of one of his goals where he just absolutely dekes number 1 pick Rasmus Dahlin just ridiculously. And there's also a pretty good interview with him about where he talks about himself being an annoying rat. So definitely watch that. But it's like a 3 or 4 minute video, and it's good stuff.
He's all over Casey Middlestat and Rasmus Dahlin. He's trying to make a name for himself, and he's trying to show the Sabres brass like the type of role he can play. He's going to learn how to get under the skin of guys by Howard-Chuck. Howard-Chuck was a sneaky guy back in the day. Like, you saw Howard-Chuck on that one game-winning goal where it was Gretzky and Lemieux went in and scored and won a huge tournament for Team Canada way back in the day. If you watch closely, Howard-Chuck hooks a guy trying to back check. Yeah. Right before that happens.
One of my favorite goals ever, obviously being a Lemieux fan.
It was Lemieux's goal, right?
It was Lemieux's goal,
yeah. Yeah, assisted by Gretzky. And if you watch closely, Howard-Chuck with a sneaky stick work there. So he got away with it, and he's teaching these guys all his little tricks. So.
His son gets it, honestly. And then obviously there was the other 3 that were that are not coming back. Obviously, Aaron Luchuk, who's at the Sens camp. He played his OA season last year with Barrie. Andrei Svechnikov, who has never, and there seems to be some people that are confused about the possibility of him returning. Svechnikov is a Carolina Hurricane.
Yeah,
he is not coming back. We will not see him. We just need to feel lucky that we got to witness, 44 games last season?
Yeah, one and done. He's officially been removed from the Barrie Colts roster, so The questions of him possibly coming back, we knew he wasn't, but
Just stop them. Just stop them.
Yeah, stop bugging Gene.
Stop. Gene's just trying to live his life. He's a busy man.
Gene said you wouldn't believe how many people asked him if Svechnikov was coming back, guys. He's too good.
And I'm running out of Dumb and Dumber memes to tag.
We want him back too. He had tons of points too, and can't, man. Watch out. He's going to be in the Carolinas top 6. I'm sure of it.
Ridiculous. And of course, Dmitry Sokolov, who is at Wild Camp,
Minnesota Wild,
will not be coming back, whether he ends up going to their AHL affiliate or what. He won't be a Barrie Colts. So we just have to move on, guys. We need to, like Ryan said, stop bugging points. Just let him do his work. And he's a busy enough man not to be answering your questions like that. Anyways, he'll answer. I'm sure he's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
So going into tonight, we've got the last preseason game of the preseason, obviously, and that's at Barrie Molson Center versus the Peterborough Petes. Puck drop is at 7:30. All right, so now that we got those guys quickly out of the way, we also have a couple Colts that will be returning. We have Jason Wilms, who was at Chicago Blackhawks camp.
Yeah, he got a goal at camp. He was featured in the OHL 20 video there that Jason Ford voiced over. The Colts are really high on him. So he's got probably a couple more years left, really coveted by the Colts. And yeah, he's a guy that's really low maintenance, as Ford says, and you don't have to worry too much about his compete level. He's a real tenacious kind of team guy, and he drives possession. When he wasn't in the lineup for the last Colts preseason game, you really noticed him not being there. He's kind of a glue guy that kind of goes unnoticed. Like, he gets lots of points, lots of goals, but he kind of gets most of his goals. They're not the flashiest.
Absolutely.
But
just that front net presence, man, it goes a long way. And like Ford said, he's just one of those guys that plays a solid 200-foot game. And he's just very reliable in each end of the ice.
And he looks huge right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's been working out hard. He could get 100 points. I am not kidding. Like, he could have a big year.
And if he gets the right line mates, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
No, not at all.
And then we also have Tyler Tucker, who's at St. Louis camp and actually had a hell of a camp.
Yeah, word on the street is that St. Louis Blues were very happy with Tyler Tucker, very happy with his physicality and what he brings to the table there.
They love an aggressive blue line in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah. So basically you're looking at Tyler Tucker, lots of hits. Got in a big fight at camp, actually. It was actually at the NHL Traverse rookie tournament. Got in a big fight. You can check that out on our YouTube and Instagram. It's also on my Twitter account.
I also have it embedded in the season preview as well. So if you have trouble finding it, it'll be at the top of the website as well.
Yeah, he's at 18 years old, and he took on a guy 6'1", 200 pounds.
24-year-old.
24-year-old. So
yikes,
man, this guy's been playing pro hockey for a while. The guy he took on, so
big Tuck's just standing his ground.
He's not scared of anybody. He got in a fight with Logan Stanley last year, the biggest guy, toughest guy in the OHL. So.
I'm pretty sure that was the game that was on the CHL broadcast on Sportsnet too.
Got guts.
So, no, absolutely. He's making a name for himself.
And, we got Lucas Chiodo. Speaking of guys that could get 100 points. He made
at camp, too.
Yeah, he made He made the first line for the Columbus Blue Jackets in the championship game of the Traverse City Rookie Tournament. And they actually won the championship. So, didn't see much on him other than maybe, like, I got a picture of him from the back in the Blue Jackets uniform.
Mm-hmm.
But looks like he made an impression by getting all the way up to the first line. And he's a guy that's super skilled. Like, I just love Lucas Chiodo. He's an unbelievable playmaker. He got a goal in the summer at the Carnival Summer League where the goalie was out a bit too far, and he kind of faked a shot and did a half deke and just dropped it in the empty net. And it was just like, he sees the ice really well. He's another really intelligent player. And he's going to be one of the leaders of the Barrie Colts this season.
Ford in that 20-20 spoke very highly of Chiodo and just what he brings to the team, especially as a 15th round pick for the team anyways, right? So
yeah,
he's really turned out to be one incredible player
for a 15th rounder.
And definitely has cleared any expectations that anybody would have had for a player that goes out late in the draft. He's He led as far as guys while with the Colts. He got the most points while with the team, anyways, right? So because you figure a lot of the points for Sokolov and Luchuk while they were in on their previous teams. So
Yeah, and he's going to be looking to establish himself as one of the best playmakers in the OHL. He finds guys if they're open, he's getting them the puck. So. Yeah, and then the last guy, Zukov, we've already talked a lot about him. Got some
Vegas.
pictures of him in a Vegas Golden Knights uniform. So yeah, expecting big things from Maxime this year, Russian netminder. So yeah,
absolutely,
big guy.
Lots of pictures of him. Vegas does not go lightly with social media. They do a really good job.
Best
with their
social
team. They
media,
really do.
yeah.
You know, it's just hoping they can maintain it. You know, it's exciting when you're a new team, but we'll see how that progresses.
All
so
right.
as we said, tonight is the last preseason game for the team at Barrie Molson Center versus the Peterborough Petes, which I'm sure there's still plenty of tickets that you can get for a 7:30 puck drop. And that just gets us ready for the home opener, which is 5 days away, Thursday, September the 20th at the Barrie Molson Center versus the Owen Sound Attack, also at 7:30.
Yeah, 5 days away. So recent number 5s, Aaron Ekblad, the first overall pick.
Christopher Cameron right now.
Chris Cameron, big defenseman. Pumped to see Chris this year.
And his skating has improved.
We've really been impressed with Chris in the preseason and camp there. So yeah, really pumped about the D core. They got 6 strong D for the Colts this year. So I don't know. Predictions are coming out soon. I got the Colts to win the Central Division. The Niagara Ice Dogs are going to be really, really trying to boost their lineup.
Totally.
But I like the Colts to take it again to win another Central title. They got 4 of the last 6.
Yeah. Looking to go 5-7.
Barrie.
5-7.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, you cannot make it to that Thursday night home opener because the kids have school, you have work the next day. Whatever the reasoning is, luckily for you, their first Saturday game of the year is on September 22nd, and that they're going to be playing against the OHL champions, the Hamilton Bulldogs, at 7:30. Nice. And so, yeah, be sure to at least make it out to preferably both of, if not one of those games, and cheer on the Colts. If you cannot make it to the game, you do have the option of getting the OHL Live account, which
it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Finally released the pricing. There was a lot of speculation because the AHL recently updated the way that they've done their service, and they've ended up lowering their price for so basically with the AHL Live now, you can get the package for the complete league, all the games, for $79.99. That's American, so you're roughly looking at about 104 Canadian dollars. If you wanted to go with a single team, it's $60, which is about 78 Canadian. In comparison to the Ontario Hockey League Live, which is right now they're offering a $279 early bird deal. You can't see the air quotes I'm doing with my finger.
Sarcasm.
That'll go up to $300 when the deal ends for the complete season. If you're looking to get a single team, they want you to saw off your arm and send it to them.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to do that, they said that they're willing to take $179 for that. But as well, that will go up. I think that goes up to about $200.
It's a bit much.
Now, if you're looking at a price point of $179, which $180, let's just compare that to the fact that you can sign up right now for NHL Game Center for $179.99. That's 10% off the regular price, but again, you're looking at it being $200 when the season actually starts. Once they get rid of the early bird deal. So if you can't make it to many games and you are loaded, feel free to get OHL Live, where they will happily take your money. And yeah, I saw those pricings, and honestly, because they waited so long for it to come out, and I honestly felt like when the AHL had released their price point, that they would have seen that and been like, like you made the point earlier before we came on talking about how people are gonna pay for it. If they want it, they're gonna pay for it, And unfortunately, the OHL knows that they will, but they're also looking to expand their market. If you want to get more fans, try to get more people to watch games. What's the best way to make people watch games is make it easily affordable.
Especially when you're looking at the United States, hockey is thriving in the United States. If you look at the U.S. development program, the prospects they're churning out are from all over the country, and they are amazing. Every year, that U.S. national development program is thriving, and people are watching a lot more hockey in the States.
And their numbers are just going up.
Their numbers are going up, so people aren't from there are going to want to see like their prospects playing in the OHL because all the best prospects for their teams are in the OHL. And you open up that thing and see how much it's going to cost to stream games. It's a bit much. So
it's a heavy commitment.
I think you're missing out on a lot of the market. A lot of people are priced out there. Like I mean, if you really want it, you're gonna get it. Like that's fine, and that's how economics works. But I'm an economics major. I went to Laurier, honors economics and accounting. But at that price point, you're pricing a lot of people out.
You're just getting the same people to come back over and over again. And at the end of the day, they should be trying to expand their market. And to expand their market, they need more people watching. And to get more people watching, especially people out of market, and even local people. Let's say if you're in Barrie, for example, and your service provider is Bell, you don't have that basic the Rogers community channel. So then like half of the people in Barrie are going to need to get the OHL package. And a lot of those people aren't going to do it because they don't want to pay that just ridiculous price. That's just so much money.
And I could see what OHL like executives and stuff would be like looking at us and saying they're listening to us conversation. They could say, "Well, I don't get it if it's too much money." Well, I won't. But
eventually, a lot of those other people aren't.
Which is fine. But I think I really, really like. From a business standpoint, I feel like you're missing out on a lot of promotion that's going to bring in revenue streams in other forms.
Absolutely. And especially when you take into consideration, you look at these other leagues, you look at the AHL, you look at the NHL, the amount of money that those leagues have going out in comparison to what the AHL or the OHL has. I mean, most of these OHL games, they have people that are local channels who are actually donating their time. It's not like these people have salaries that they're paying. This is local basic cable coverage. So and a lot of the feeds are not very good in some of these other cities. Just true, vicious. Yeah. So you mean if you're going to even just do the pay per game, I think it's like still $8 to $10 to pay for a single game. Yikes! That's like a WWF pay-per-view back in the day, Like, in what world do they think someone's going to want to watch an over-pixelated game?
And we're not even angry guys. Like, Ryan Noble and Ryan McArthur, we're nice guys.
Pretty laid back. You know what? I love the OHL, and I will promote it in every way. I just can't get behind this insane pricing. And on that note, before I keep venting and accidentally drop an expletive, I think we're going to have to cut things
We've been doing good with the swearing. We haven't sworn.
We're not going to lose that little iTunes badge of clean podcast.
No, we're determined. No explicit content here.
Be sure to tell your kids to listen. We promise not to use cuss words. So we are just under the 1 hour point. So I think we're going to wrap it here. Like I said, be sure to go over to the website. Lots of content. We've got the season preview up now. We've got the look at Ryan Suzuki by Ryan McArthur. We've got the look at Nathan Allenson by Justin Stapleton. Check out our wallpapers. Check out our Twitter, Barrie Colts. We are also with the same username on Instagram. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at RyanNoble66, and Ryan can be found as well.
Yeah, Ryan P. McArthur. Follow Justin Stapleton as well. I think it's Staples1311. Just search Justin Stapleton in Twitter. And please subscribe to all our platforms. Like we got YouTube. You can find the Tucker Fight there. We've got Podomatic, iTunes. We're hoping to get on Spotify, Google Play. Please subscribe, do all of that stuff. That's the only way that you can support us. Maybe go to the website, buy a t-shirt or something. But we're just doing this. It's all volunteer. And we're just passionate fans. And
we're like the people putting work into the $200 OHL package.
Dude, seriously, that's the best way to help us out. So, like our posts, retweet, get involved, write comments, say hi to us at the rink. I'm gonna try to put up some pictures of myself. If you go to the Barrie Colts website. There's a picture of me on there, so you can find out what I look like. I don't post much on Twitter.
He's the one flipping the bird.
Oh, yeah. That was totally accidental. I was fanning the game, and I got my Moksha yoga pass, and I held it a little awkwardly there. But yeah, like, seriously, follow us, subscribe as much as possible.
And we appreciate you for listening and for clicking on the links and coming to the website. So, you know what?
Third episode. What do you think?
I think it went pretty smoothly. Again, this is our longest one. We are just under an hour right now. So, I think we should cut it before everyone falls.
We're going to cut this off. All right, let's go, Barrie.
Thanks again for listening again for the game tonight.
Let's go.
With my movements, footprints, music I splatter. Oozes the same gruesome putrid fluid as a slain cadaver. Moving through chapels, using a